This podcast is sponsored by Science Based Learning. Discover effective language acquisition with their unique system combining ebooks, audiobooks, and videos with an online practice app using spaced repetition to boost retention. Visit sciencebasedlearning.com today.
Spanish news headlines to boost your language skills today. Discover how Spanish news headlines can help you learn key vocabulary, stay updated, and make beginner Spanish lessons more engaging and effective. Hey there. So, I was catching up on some Spanish news recently and thought you'd find it pretty interesting. It's always fascinating to see what's making headlines in Spain and the Spanish-speaking world, especially if you're trying to learn Spanish or just keeping an eye on current events to practice the language. I mean, it's one thing to get the basics down, like basic Spanish phrases and beginner Spanish lessons. But when you see the language in action through real news stories, it really brings things to life. Current Spanish news headlines to know. Alright, let me give you a quick rundown. One of the top stories right now is about Spain's government pushing new climate initiatives. They're aiming to reduce carbon emissions significantly by 2030, which ties into Europe's broader plan for environmental sustainability. I think what's cool is how this topic connects with daily vocabulary in Spanish. You'll hear words like emisiones de carbono, carbon emissions, energía renovable, renewable energy, and cambio climático, climate change. These kinds of news stories can be a great resource for anyone taking a Spanish language course that emphasizes contemporary language and science-based learning. Another headline gripping people is Spain's ongoing debate on education reform. The government is considering changes to the school system, including reforms that might affect how foreign languages are taught. This is huge for those interested in picking up Spanish for beginners or even improving their fluency. There's a lot of talk around modelos educativos, educational models, and competencias lingüísticas, language skills, which again introduce you to relevant vocabulary that's practical and directly tied to real-life conversations. Why Spanish news is a great learning tool. Now, if you're wondering how everyday people fit into all this, well, the economics section is buzzing with news about Spain's tourism bounce back post-pandemic. It's pretty vibrant. Reports mention how domestic and international visitors are fueling local economies. As you listen to stories like these, you pick up key words like turismo, economía local, and crecimiento, growth. Reading or listening to current headlines provides a dynamic way to get familiar with sentence structure and vocabulary beyond the usual textbook phrases. One especially neat thing about engaging with news is how it aligns with science-based learning methods, which emphasize natural context, repetition, and meaningful usage. These strategies are proven effective for retaining new language concepts, making learning not just faster, but a lot more fun. If you want to experience learning that sticks, I highly recommend you check out Science-Based Learning. Some fun headlines you might not expect. Spain's Culinary Spotlight, a recent write-up, celebrated the country's rising star chefs and their reinterpretation of traditional Spanish dishes. Football fever. Spanish football clubs continue to be powerhouses in European leagues, with some drama around transfers and rising stars. Cultural festivals. There's excitement around the upcoming La Tomatina and Feria de Abril festivals, always a highlight on the Spanish cultural calendar. Interestingly, even if you are just a beginner, exposing yourself to these headlines can help bridge the gap between classroom learning and actual language in use. Plus, you get to learn about Spain's vibrant culture and current affairs at the same time. Start your language journey now. If you're itching to get started with the Spanish, or want to upgrade from beginner Spanish lessons to feeling more confident reading news and having conversations, here's a tip. Immerse yourself in what genuinely interests you. Whether it's news about sports, culture, or politics, the key is consistent exposure and meaningful engagement. For a structured, effective approach, especially if you want to learn through evidence-backed methods, visiting science-based learning is a fantastic first step. They offer great resources and courses tailored to bringing the Spanish language to life in a way that suits your pace and interests. So whether you're just starting with Spanish for beginners or looking to add some flair to your daily routine with current Spanish headlines, it's all about making the language part of your everyday stories. Trust me, it makes all the difference. All right, I'm off to skim the afternoon editions. I'll catch you next time with more updates and tips to keep that beginner Spanish journey exciting and real.